Y'all already know what it is. The Clarissa wake-up call. Now listen, I'm going to tell you right now, not sure what's going on over there with Clarissa and her team. A lot of us have this perception that things may not be all good. And we're wondering, when is Clarissa going to pull the plug on this relationship she has with some of those members on her team. Clarissa made Claressa Shields. You know what I'm saying? So I want to talk about, man, someone like her. Is her inner circle helping to elevate her legacy? You know what I'm saying? What are they doing with her legacy? Now, a lot of people talk about her relationship with, Papoose, Win Records, Dimitri Salita. And especially over the last year, it's like, you know what, man? It seems to be a kind of opportunistic relationship. You know what I'm saying? And then others are saying, nah, just give it more time. Let's see how it plays out. And I think that's what happened when people see a union like what has been created between Clarissa, Papoose, Win Records. Because it's I'm not, there are people from the hip hop world who have come into boxing. But the thing with Clarissa, it just like came out of nowhere. And it seemed really unusual. I think that's one of a few reasons why that whole working relationship and then the personal relationship is underneath a magnifying glass. We're trying to understand why some people seek what seems to be influence over highly successful individuals, and why fans are increasingly arguing that Shields' greatness belongs to Claressa Shields alone, not anyone standing beside her. The way she has kind of gone on and ranted and raved, giving other people credit for where she's at in the sport of boxing, when really they had nothing to do with where she's at. It's her getting in the ring with these bing bings and touching up opponents is what got her to where she's at. So again, there's no accusations against anyone. It's just a conversation about the things that fans are saying as observers. It is trying to examine the concerns. When I listen to fans who often raise these concerns on the lives, when they feel that someone like Clarissa's identity is becoming tied more to the people around her rather than her accomplishments that really made her very well known. Now, the first rule of opportunists, they look for value. Throughout sports, entertainment, and business, opportunistic people are often attracted to the same thing, value. Okay? They're naturally drawn toward individuals who possess fame, influence, money, status, talent, opportunity. They understand that attaching themselves to a successful person can create opportunities they might never create on their own. And this is something that a lot of people talk about during their lives, during the call-ins. This specifically. Now, they also say, I like to try to be fair. It doesn't automatically mean every close relationship is exploitative, but it makes you wonder. Especially when someone like Claressa Shields just almost seems to have forgotten about herself and all the hard work she put in to get to where she's at right now. But at the same time, this is why fans often become suspicious when they believe a highly accomplished athlete is becoming overly dependent on one person. Makes you wonder how someone like Claressa Shields, who says, I make my own money, anything I want, I do for myself, I don't depend on anybody. Makes you wonder, right, how we ended up here thinking that Clarissa, who was successful, thinking that somehow she became vulnerable. Now, I hear the things the ladies say, and everyone has an opinion. But is it that Many people assume successful athletes are impossible to influence. And that's why we sit here right now scratching our heads and speculating and just making assumptions about what could be going on. But I'm going to tell you this, history suggests otherwise. Athletes often spend their lives mastering one thing, competition. They don't necessarily spend their lives mastering business, public relations, branding, relationship management, personal boundaries. And as a result, this creates opportunities for stronger personalities to gain influence, which is what a lot of us believe has happened here with Big Gwoat and her team. And sometimes that influence can be positive. It can work out. Sometimes it becomes unhealthy, which is what we feel right now. But it's like I always ask, name one celebratory moment. And maybe it's coming. It just hasn't come yet. Maybe it's coming. We don't know. But it doesn't look very healthy. So we're like, when is she going to pull the plug on this? But maybe she's not pulling the plug because there's some great things in the pipeline and it's coming down. It just hasn't hit yet. And when it hits, then we'll all have the aha moment. But it hasn't happened, so we're going to keep thinking negatively. Now, the mentality of someone who violates trust for personal gain, it's got to be crappy. When people knowingly violate trust, they usually justify it internally. Very few people wake up believing they are villains. Instead, they convince themselves, I deserve this, I'm helping them, they need me. If it wasn't for me, they wouldn't have this, they wouldn't be here. Without me, they'd struggle. Where were you at before me? Eventually, they begin viewing another person's success as partially their own. Hey, I got to take credit for that. I did that. I'm the one that went in there and sat down and I negotiated. I did this. It was me, I. More eyes than an optometrist, you know what I'm saying? And that mindset can become dangerous because the line between support and ownership starts disappearing. When someone starts taking credit for another person's greatness, one of the warning signs fans often discuss in sports is when people around an athlete begin acting as if they are responsible for the athlete's achievements. That is crazy. But here's the reality. Before anyone arrived, Claressa Shields already was an Olympic champion, historic boxer, world champion, headline attraction, future Hall of Famer. Nobody gave her those accomplishments. She earned them, punch by punch, fight by fight, year by year. This is why some fans become uncomfortable whenever the conversation appears to shift away from her achievements and toward the people around her. Well, that's why we're like, okay, forget the attitude and all that bullshit aside. Do you even know who you are? Do you remember who you are? Or who you were? What's really going on here? And one of the most common things supporters say when they become concerned about an athlete's direction is, remember who you were before all of this. Fans are not usually referring to money. They're referring to identity. It's cool to be simple Sue, simple Sally. You don't need to be out here trying to be something that you're not. If you lost your identity, you try to become something you're not. There were a lot of people who really respected Claressa Shields and appreciated her as an athlete. And I do think she was very inspirational early on. And there were a lot of people who were able to relate to her. A lot of people. But when fans feel that identity has changed dramatically, they often look for explanations. The inner circle becomes an obvious target for scrutiny. And that's why everybody's looking so hard at, the obvious change in her inner circle is just when she did picked up Papoose and went records to be involved with her boxing career. And there's a huge danger of tying your legacy to another person. Now, this is a fact. The greatest athletes build legacies that stand on their own. Their accomplishments survive regardless of relationships, friendships, partnerships, or business arrangements. The danger emerges when an athlete's public narrative becomes increasingly connected to one individual. Instead of discussing championships, going down in weight, whatever, fans start talking about relationships. Instead of discussing accomplishments, fans discuss drama. The shift can weaken the brand, and that's what's happened. Clarissa's public narrative has become increasingly connected to Papoose. That is what the perception is. No one's talking about her boxing anymore, man. As a result, her brand, which was already, if there was anything left that she could salvage, it's just destroyed, man. It's like, how do you let that happen? You got to snap out of it. Now, if there's something good going on, you got to tell us. Show us. Because, me, I try to be fair, but where is it? Talk about it. But because we're not seeing and hearing, we're definitely not seeing it. We don't know of anything great going on, except she seemed to be all about her man, her man, her man. A lot of us like, okay. Well, many just don't care. I'll tell you that. But those of us who can, sit the emotion aside just for conversation's sake, we're like, when are you going to refocus on yourself and immediately start to try to rebuild? Because I think Clarissa, she was at her best. And even though she was chippy, she was tolerated, but she was at her best when the conversation centered around boxing, competition, achievement, history, legacy. You see, those are areas where very few people can challenge her. But the further conversations move away from those strengths, the more distractions emerge. No one's really talking about that anymore. And from a branding perspective, fans often believe the athlete should remain the central story, not the people surrounding the athlete. It's about the athlete, not the people. You see, greatness doesn't need validation. And I think this is one of the biggest points many fans make, is this right here. Setting the emotion aside when it comes to her attitude and all that other shit, when they just focus on the boxing. They're like, you know what, man? All right, let's just focus on that. Her greatness existed long before any current relationship. Her championships are hers. Her medals are hers. Her accomplishments are hers. Her legacy belongs to her. No relationship can create that, and no relationship can take that away. The only question is whether the people around her help amplify the greatness or whether they become distractions from it. And that's exactly what's happened here. What have they done to that legacy that she had in place? Have they extended it or have they destroyed it? What's the perception? What's your opinion? Now, again, there may be great things to come, but who, what, when, where, why, and how? Because we ain't seeing it. So the real concern many fans express is not about any one individual. It's about independence. It's about identity. It's about making sure one of boxing's most accomplished athletes remains defined by her own achievements rather than by the personality surrounding her. Because when history remembers Big Gwoat, it won't remember who stood next to her. History talking about her as a boxer, they ain't gonna be talking about none of these people. Papoose, win records, Demetrius Salita. They're gonna be talking about Claressa Shields, man. But all the negative and drama that's attached to her right now, I do think that will come up because it's been so much, and she hasn't been a likable villain. But at the end of the day, if she can somehow get it right, which a lot of people feel she should pull the plug on that relationship, but it doesn't seem like she's going to do that. But she should pull the plug on that relationship, in my opinion, or at least pull the plug on all the drama that they seem to have been encouraging her to indulge in. And then the conversation maybe can be more about what she accomplished in the ring. Because the legacy, when it comes to her boxing, she built that. And if somebody comes and they trash her legacy, she's going to have to own that because she's going to be the one that's going to be forced to take the blame. While these other people make their money and they up out of there. Anyway, man, Clarissa needs the wake-up call. Pull the plug on all this. You're the Gwoat. You're the prize, right? What you said on the Breakfast Club, what I look like being second to some woman. I'm not, the man's with me. I ain't with him and all that. What happened to all that? Because right now we're looking at this boxing career and we're like, yo, she says she got a big fight announcements coming. Nothing's popping off. Nothing's being announced. Just drama, drama, drama. Doing lives and deleting the lives and got your friend going at you. And I mean, it's just never ends. Never ends, man. I'm going to say it again. When history remembers Claressa Shields, it won't remember who stood next to her because she's going to be all by herself is what I think. And I hate to see that for anybody. But anyway, she better wake up and pull the plug on that relationship because she ain't got much time left. 2026, she was supposed to have a child. That's what she said, right? 2026. Let me see if I got that. Do this again.
What's the next thing? What's the plan for 2026? Like,
I'm having a baby.
2026.
Do you prefer like a girl, a boy? I mean, I know obviously healthy baby, but do you have any like?
Pat want a boy, so I want a boy.
Oh.
Now, I'm about to end this bit, but just listen to this again. 2026.
What's the next thing? What's the plan for 2026? Like,
I'm having a baby.
What's the plan for 2026? I'm having a baby. Pat want a boy, so I want a boy. This is 2026. Now it's supposed to be 2027. Then 2028, 2029. It's not going to happen, man. Clarissa, wake up. Pull the plug on all that bullshit, reset. Work with Demetrius Salita, if that's what it is. And get back to business because I don't know if she can rebuild, but she got to figure something immediately. This shit look all bad to me. And I do think the comet's coming. Y'all just wait. I do think it's coming. Just wait. I'm hearing some rumblings about some things. Just wait and see how it plays out. And I don't wish bad on nobody. I'm just telling you, man, blind man can see this shit ain't gonna work out. But does she have the strength to pull the plug? That's the question. Y'all keep cool. I'm in the breeze.